are back with the illustrious, the accomplished Mark Seifter of Arcane Mark. You can catch him there talking shop with Linda about awesome stuff. You were telling me about your last video, and it really kind of opened my eyes and answered like a fundamental question I had about Pathfinder. You just ran an awesome game with a bunch of other YouTubers. So yeah, go check out that. What's your favorite on there that maybe didn't get quite as much love, or what should people check out on Arcane Mark?
Well, I mean, on Arcane Mark, a lot of the time, Linda and I will just do something we think is fun. A lot of them are live streams that we did on Twitch and then put up. Although we're close to getting monetized on YouTube, so we may just do them natively on YouTube after that, since the YouTube algorithm is a little nicer to small channels. But we've got like GM Tools episodes where we give tips on things like running a negotiation that aren't necessarily easy to do. We have like 80 some of those
Hmm.
on the channel, and we've got design diaries about like designing games, player tools for like how to up your game as a player, not just in optimization but in like making the game more fun for you and everybody else at the table. Some where we just like randomly play a video game. Just like there's all sorts of weird stuff on that channel, so I would say check out the playlists because they are about different topics.
Awesome. Um, cool. So today we're gonna roll on the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation. You chose teacher. Final answer?
Yes, teacher.
Good. I'm excited for this. This one was near and dear to my heart. All right. So you rolled one of everything, and then you put a challenge to me.
Yes, I'm challenging you.
Okay.
What? Okay, I'll give you the easiest die last.
Okay.
So I rolled a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, a D12, and a D20. So tell me which ones were which. Here are my results.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 7. The seven's the easiest one because
Because it's not a D6. Wow, man, you rolled. You
and it's
rolled.
well, hold on, I'll help you out. The seven is also not a D4, but
Okay, thank
all
you.
the other ones are 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 7.
Appreciate it. I was
So
expecting it to be low. I wasn't expecting it to be that low. So there's
it
no.
was egregiously terrible. It was atrocious.
Well, I will say there's no good or bad here except for that D10. So I'm hoping that D10 is maybe your seven. Is that the case? That's not me playing the odds, but it's
Nope.
hopeful. No, okay.
Nope.
Cool. I think I might get. Well, okay. I'm gonna play the odds here, and is the D20 is the first one I'm gonna ask you about. So is that one of our twos
Okay.
or one of our threes?
It's a 2.
It's
You
a
were right.
two. uh, so we are creating a character that can slot into most any fantasy game, be it Pathfinder, 5e. We were talking about Knave earlier today. And the core, the first thing we're gonna develop on that character is the character's motivation. What makes them tick? Our drive, or dream, or aspiration. So with the two, big two, we have serve as an example to their students.
So this one's really interesting to me because this is like a fantasy character that's probably getting involved with plot lines and they want to serve as an example to their students. So I just have I'm picturing this character who they are like doing these outrageous adventures despite being a teacher, mainly because not it's like they don't have like a sense for adventure or like an urge that like I must do this, but it's more like I want to live up to my students' expectations. And maybe because of the fact that they were like number one in their own class before they became the teacher, everyone looked up to them as like this is like a great like scholar. Maybe they have some magic or other things that they use their scholarship to gain, and they're like, I would be letting my students down. I need to serve as a good example to my students and show that I can do this as a community service or to live up to their expectations, to show them that they can be a hero too. And that's like their main motivation. If it weren't for that, they'd be like, I'm just gonna sit around at home and like just lounge around.
I like that because it's equal parts heroic and has a little like psychological dark edge to it of like the gifted and talented kid syndrome of like must
Hmm.
achieve, must be good. Oh, that's a yeah, strong start. So our seven is our D12.
It's another. No, that one's a 3. That one's a 3. The
Damn.
D12.
Well, now I know what it is, but it's somewhere.
Yes,
All
you
right.
do.
Uh,
You know that it's the D8. It was actually the smallest one that could have a 7 on it.
yeah, yeah. I refused to do that off camera because I wanted everyone at home to see how poorly I did. So I'm 0 for 2. Uh,
You
all right.
sort of
So
got the D20 if we're going to be nice, because you said, is it one of the twos or one of the threes? But you said the twos first. So
yeah, no, I counted it. I counted it as yeah, not a 25% chance, and I still hedged. Um, all right, now I confused myself. D12 is a 3, correct?
yes.
So this is our catalyst, our call to adventure. Why aren't we just a teacher? Why are we on our adventurer's path? Everything they'd learned and taught was a lie.
Oh man. So this actually gives me a little bit of a twist to that. So like they were just following the treadmill of higher education. They were the top students, so then they were offered a spot at the academy and they were learning things, they were figuring it out. And that's when they discovered that like the chancellor of this like school of academics and magic was like evil.
Mm.
There was evil stuff going on in there. They're supposed to be an example to their students. They're supposed to show the students that this is the right way. And like, no, because like the head of the reason why people are sometimes failing out and going back home to the country they never heard from again is actually because the headmaster is like some kind of a, I don't know, maybe like a lich, but who maintains a sort of a youthful and living body by like draining the blood and life force of failed out students or some horrible thing. And so the teacher becomes a reluctant hero because they need to be the hero that their students would expect them to be, even if they didn't have the moral courage on their own to like deal with the fact that the institution that they've been supporting is actually super evil.
That's really rich. I really like that a lot. Again, there's real world parallels there. Okay.
You know what? There are, but I try to make them very fantasy so that you can like use them or not, depending on what how you feel.
That's the game, baby. That's all over this book. So our D8, I'm actually interested now. Potential growth, character arc. So typically these are things that you want to like develop at the table through play, but having like some broad concept can help you kind of lean into things and take opportunities when they come. You just developed a really interesting narrative. So I wonder if this is gonna like
I
grind
think it
against
fits
that.
with number 7, rigid
Okay.
pass fail mentality to embracing creativity,
Mm,
because they were on the straight and narrow path. They were on like this teacher was on maybe like the escalator that their parents put them on, where it's like you're going to be the top student. Okay, now you were accepted at a young age as a professor, and now you're doing this, and they're learning to break out of the shackles and the straitjacket of this pass fail mentality. You have to be the top, and realizing all along through becoming this hero, through doing what they never expected to do for their students, that they can also stop and smell the roses. They can be a bit more creative. They don't have to score 101% on everything.
not all GPA. Um, do you have a sense of like class? I mean, we were flirting, like you say, education, you get arcane very quickly in these sorts of
Yes.
systems.
I'm thinking that this character is probably has at least a dabbling of wizardly magic. So there, I would say that there's some kind of either wizard or like an investigator slash detective or some multi-class
Mm,
that allows you to get both of these things where they're intelligence based and they are using that sort of pedagogical method towards their adventuring, and they're using what they learned in school. It's the one who after like doing something turns to the kids and says, as you can see, this is where we used that math problem that we were talking about before, because as my floating hand was moving forward at 30 feet per second in this direction, and the minotaur was charging at 60 feet in that other direction, I had to angle it so that they would slam into each other or something like that.
and that's why you got to learn trig, kids. Like it's all geometry at the end of the day. We were trying to calculate the volume of a conical weather system
Yes,
last episode.
if we didn't calculate the volume of this area, then my fireball might have sucked all of the oxygen out of the room. And then it would have caused breathing problems for myself and my companions. Fortunately, I was able to use that knowledge of math from geometry class.
God, I love this. I also got just like little flashes of Miss Frizzle in the Magic School Bus. All right, so we're gonna take one step closer to the world building side of things. This is still on the player page, but man, I don't know. Is the one on the D4? We were talking ill of the D4. Did that give us our one?
It was a 3.
I
It's the
have not
Garden
gotten one
Club.
yet. Well, I mean, I got the seven, but that doesn't count. Three is a friendly faction, so a group of NPCs that maybe we're a part of, or maybe we just have a good relationship with. So
So it's the Garden Club, the cooks, the herbalists, the farmers that share food knowledge funded by their restaurant.
oh,
So like the place, because this character, is not going to be able to talk about the conspiracy at the academy, like in the academy, even though they are trying to be a role model for their students. So where they go, where it's kind of safe to posit their theories, it's actually to this restaurant. And so this feels like it's this, those mystery books where it's just like this weirdly unlikely occupational group that meets together is for some reason solving the mystery instead of
hmm.
like the people who should be solving. In this case, it's like these restaurateurs and other people who are at this particular restaurant. So it's like the garden club sleuths who are trying to figure out what's going on with the evil headmaster.
I love that because you built in you have like a weird mystery solving team name like the Garden Club. Like, yeah, we started a book club, and we mostly read like mystery thrillers, and now the whole back of the house has become detective somehow.
Yep. And it's called the Garden Club, so no one thinks like this is the group that's trying to take down this powerful like I'm imagining the headmaster as being like some of the depictions of Lex Luthor as like tries to come across as like a philanthropist with good PR to people on the surface who don't know what's going on, but is
Hmm.
actually like ridiculously shady when you go under the sort of the grime of it.
And I like the idea that like maybe someone in the Garden Club like used to work in the food hall and so has like caught a sniff of all that and got out.
Yeah, or was the
Um,
gardener the grounds creeper and
mm,
noticed that they were dragging a body off or anything like that?
yeah. They were digging holes one day to plant some sort of decorative bush and found some bones. Started asking the
Hmm.
wrong questions. All right. So I'm gonna say on your D6 you got a three because I
Nope,
said
it was the
ah,
two.
zero, zero. Well, that's good. I mean, that's better news for the D10. I started to play the
The
other side.
D10 is now a one because we actually ran out of threes. The one was the only one left. We hadn't done it yet.
Oh man, I scratched the one, but yeah, we did the two twos. That was just bad note taking on my part. Players, take notes and do it well. Assets and allies. We're drilling down to an NPC that's a friend of ours.
So we gained Professor Beetle, who's doddering now but once sought out for their vast knowledge. So maybe Professor Beetle just has this long understanding of what the university is like. One of the few who's been around since before the headmaster, and the headmaster mostly keeps around due to feeling that Professor Beetle like is not like able to observe what's going on well enough to figure out the problems or able to remember what any kind of incriminating evidence, but that also allows this professor to be a sounding board or a source of knowledge about like the history and that no one else is able to provide because maybe the headmaster has been covering it up. And it's probably like a beloved professor, and so you're not going to fire Professor Beetle because it's like he's an institution and he seems harmless, but
Hmm.
maybe that's the hubris of the headmaster talking because it turns out that there's some very vital role that Professor Beetle is able to play when the this teacher character and the Garden Club, who might be the PCs, are the members of the Garden Club who are helping out, are able to use that to turn the tables.
I love the idea that Professor Beetle's some like high level wizard, but he doesn't want to like jeopardize his tenure, so he can't act. So instead, he's like a patron. All right. So here's the thing. D10 is the one that almost ended up on the other page because this is a significant item or a magic item. And this is the one that has the most scaling to it. So a one
Okay.
is going to feel a lot more like a trinket than a magic item.
So it's a wooden apple carved by a favorite student, which serves as a sentimental reminder of the purpose. So I
Perfect.
believe that this wooden apple was carved by one of the students who didn't do well enough on the test and went home to the countryside out of disgrace or whatever. And that because it was a favorite student who made the wooden apple, this is the teacher was like, I really liked them. And I
Hmm.
want to write to their parents and be like, I want you to know this student is great. And I will send you like enrichment packets so you can do work at home in the countryside. And I think that they will be able to become an amazing academician later on, even though they may have had problems on standardized testing or whatever. And the parents were back and like, what? They didn't get back here. We want to know what's going on with them too. And that may have been like the call to action. And it is a reminder of purpose because it's like one of the students who got killed by the evil headmaster.
That's powerful. That's heartstrings right there. That's a great reveal. So if you were my player, I would let you re-roll that 10. I would make sure that that wooden apple is in your inventory now.
Hmm.
That is a touchstone for your character for sure, with all of that narrative built in. But if someone else got
But
a cool magic item sitting next to you, I'd feel bad and allow you to get another one.
all right. Well, then I re-rolled to a 4, the Pen of Correction. It's a red pen that can render one magical scroll, sigil, or glyph inert daily. Very important one that I may have been loaned by Professor Beetle that might help me to deactivate certain glyphs that the headmaster is using to ward off certain areas or secrets in the school that they don't want anyone to be able to
Hmm.
find.
Hmm. I like that because that's potentially very powerful. I mean, whatever, depending on system and all.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not useful in 99% of situations, but in the 1% where it is, uh, it may be exactly what you need to overcome a superior adversary who's using magical glyphs and wards as their means of protecting their information.
yeah. And what kind of teacher would you be if you didn't have a red pen that did
Yeah, I
powerful
mean,
things with
teacher
things?
needs to have a red pen. Otherwise, what if in a magic school, students could have written all sorts of weird things on those tests that you need to like, oh my gosh,
You need
this
to.
was supposed to be the spell formula, but it summons Cthulhu because of
Mm-hmm,
a typo. I
mm-hmm,
better erase it.
mm-hmm. Dispel, dispel, dispel. Big red X. Wow. Okay. I really like this. This is much more than the character already. We've built the whole academy around them. Anything you want to add to the character specifically before we go more to the game master side of world building?
I think that we're at probably a pretty good place for the character. So if we can go into the game master side, then we can like uncover more about this conspiracy or this academy town.
I like it. Yeah, I don't know that we need more. 4d6s. You can roll them all
Or
together. You can roll them one at a
D6.
time.
I'll roll them all together. All right. They were all different.
I'm
So
I guess this one was the six. Um,
there,
the,
there actually is a 6.
oh, nice. The first one, whichever one that may be, is our antagonistic organization, a faction that does not love us.
Okay. So it says that the antagonistic organization here is the Ministry of Information, a 1.
Hmm. Manages what the people know and don't know to maintain order.
So I'm going to guess that in that case, this evil headmaster has created the this information bureau as like out of concern that there's been some concerns of like violence that can sometimes break out in school, or people might fight each other because they're nobles and commoners and other
Hmm.
factional disputes, and in order to maintain a sense of sort of neutrality and fairness among all students, they've created the Ministry of Information within the, or maybe it's a like the Dean of Information who helps to create information brochures and tours for the school, but is also secretly redacting things and cleaning things up for the evil headmaster.
I like that a lot. I had a little edge of like, oh, this is some sort of like government arm that is like sponsoring
Hmm.
the weird, evil necrotic
It
research
might
that's
be.
going on. But
It could
I
also
like
be
the
government or criminal ties that this
mm,
headmaster that has.
I like the idea of it being like inside the institution too. Like this dean who runs the ministry has like the equivalent of hall monitors. These like, some students have been co-opted into this and like given a little more power over their peers and are undoubtedly abusing it. Um, yeah, that'd be a fun like menagerie of NPCs. All right, the next D6 is an NPC. Could be a rival, could be up to and including the big bad evil guy. So what do we get on the next D6?
So on the next D6, we wound up with a 3.
Three. Archivist Seiho cantankerously runs his library with an iron fist and relentless shushing.
Aha. So Archivist Seiho, who's running the library, is possibly as a rival enemy, maybe even like works for the dean of information, because of the fact that like controlling the library would be something that the information group wants to do, and so uses the idea of civility in the library mostly to as an excuse to like police different sections of the library or get people out who they don't want in there, but I think is also just legitimately cantankerous and doesn't want people being loud in the library like at the same time. So if you can play by Archivist Seiho's rules, then you can wind up getting the information that you need, maybe even if the rest of the ministry information doesn't want you to.
Yeah, because that would be the choke point of information. He would be the ultimate gatekeeper in a scenario like this, or at least, if not the gatekeeper, then like the guy with the keys to the back door. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's friendly to the adversarial factions more so, but is just such a curmudgeonly lawful guy that if you actually can play with his rules, and if you go one step off, he's going to throw you all the way off. Whereas they can just break things a little bit more and not have anything happen to them. But if you
Mm,
can color completely between the lines, then that would be someone that you're able to sort of overcome his gatekeeper role.
I like that a lot. All right, the next D6 is an evocative location. Maybe this ties everything in a nice bow and is like their set piece. Maybe this is something random that we are gonna use to connect to other people's stories.
So I got a 6, the Mind Palace, a pocket dimension crafted by a wizard filled with puzzle protected oddities. I think this is the headmaster's ultimate place of hiding sort of the big secrets. It's like, well, you think it's in my office, but I'm not that sloppy. It's in
Mhm.
a mind palace
Mm.
projected into through my mind into the astral plane that's almost inaccessible and covered in glyphs that maybe the red pen can help remove once you get in there. So good luck because there's no incriminating information that you can tie to me anywhere except for in this mind palace. So hopefully you can find a way in because I am keeping it locked as tight as possible.
I love it. And I just had this flash. We were talking last time about how you were in a game where like the big battle was about to come and it was legitimately a full session of preparation and acquisition of potions and magic items and like buff spells and strategy. And I love the idea of walking through the door to the big bad evil guy and being faced with like a highlights magazine level puzzle again and again and again and again. And now we're like running out the clock solving puzzles to get to his inner sanctum, be it his phylactery or, this I mean, maybe the
Maybe
experiment
his
chamber.
phylactery is the mind palace.
Mm,
Like
mm.
the whole place is a phylactery, and if you want to dismantle it, you have to solve all the puzzles to like destroy different regions of the mind palace. Because rather than having a physical object that could be destroyed, it's this mental construct that's super hard to even get at. And
Oh,
while you're doing that, you play through different like memories of the evil headmaster when they were like alive, or some of the things that they did, how they justify things to themselves, and you like learn a little bit more about some of the horrible fates of the students, but also some other sides to the headmaster, and you're kind of unmooring them to destroy the phylactery.
yeah, and that's so rich for metaphor, like thematic metaphor of like what is the most indestructible thing that you cannot kill? An idea. I will hide this thing in the plane of thought. Um, and then yeah, insert problematic idea that won't die here. uh,
Hmm.
all right. D6 is gonna give us a monster. My
All
favorite.
right, I got five. A
Hmm.
sphinx enjoys riddles and logic puzzles and eating those who cannot solve them.
I mean, that slots into the mind palace pretty easily. Or I mean, any of this. That
So
feels
you
like a
could
given.
have like a thought sphinx that's a thought form that guards the mind palace, but like this could fit anywhere. Like
Yeah.
the archivist Saho maybe is a sphinx.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
doesn't say that archivist Saho is a human. For example, maybe
Nope.
a sphinx is running the library, or maybe the Ministry of Information employs sphinxes because
Hmm.
of the fact that they are good at dealing with some of the sort of this information warfare and these puzzles. Or maybe the groundskeeper who works for the headmaster is a sphinx and
Hmm.
is constantly wondering why this professor is out late at night, but um, is willing to let you go if you solve the riddle. It's like I could just turn you in to my boss, but how about this? Solve the riddle, I'll let you go, and if you fail, I'll eat you. I like that more than just turning you in. It's more fun for me.
Exactly. Um, all right. The last roll of the teacher is going to be a D20, that's the swingiest of dice. It's going to be a plot hook, a story seed, an adventure idea.
All right. So let's see. It says here five. The traveling course claims to teach self improvement, but it seems something more sinister is going on. So I think that is the drive to get these students who come in from like the countryside on these beautiful scholarships, and they're traveling. They're sending out admissions officers out there to be like, yeah, come on in. We'll send you a scholarship. You don't have to pay. People who won't be easily missed because
Hmm.
obviously the headmaster's not taking like um, Count Debussy's daughter and or something like that. The headmaster is taking these students that they are specifically doing a drive to get who are going to be easier to fall through the cracks. And so this is number five, the traveling course that claims substance improvement that something sinister is going on. We somehow enacted that before we rolled it.
Well, that's the magic of all this. Like, yeah, the connection, the synchronicities that can come into play.
For
That's why I
those of you
hope.
watching, this is how astrologers manage to make you think that your zodiac symbol or like the tarot cards they drew apply to your exact life because they have to be good like a GM at interpreting whatever is written on that D20 to claim, yes, this was what we were saying all along.
Yes, yes. There's a tarot based version of this in the future, perhaps, if the cards favor it.
Aha.
Yeah. Oof, great, great stuff. Great stuff. You're a very good astrologer. Or GM, I suppose. Man, because I hated that, which means it's good. Like this, they're like preying on the most susceptible by like, oh, farm
You
kid
have a
with a farm.
talent for magic. I know
Yes.
you're in a poor peasant farming family, but a magic job that's going to have an income that's 1,000 times higher as a mage trained in this academy. You'll be able to pay for your family's comfort for the rest of their life, and you'll be able to live a comfortable life, and we'll pay for this because you have so much talent. So come to our academy.
Yeah, full ride. Sign right here. Ooh.
Yep.
Oh, dark. Um, okay, awesome. Anything else to add to that? I am
I think
satisfied
we
on it.
have our
That's
story.
yeah.
We have our storyline. This could easily be an adventure where either this teacher is one of the PCs or maybe is like an NPC patron and the other garden club members are a PC. It just depends on if someone wants to play this teacher specifically. I think this would be a great adventure.
Yeah, because there's a couple hooks to like for party formation here. Like maybe this was our teacher, right? Like maybe we're the students
Hmm.
and this is our patron, and either or we're the garden club. We're
Yes.
working at this restaurant, or oh man, and we didn't like one of their kids got the scholarship. and is MIA now. Like
Hmm.
that's right there. Yeah, powerful stuff. I kind of hate it, which means it's good. I'm gonna go back to the widescreen. Bum. And I know that it's very difficult for you to say because you have so much going on. But what should people be checking out from you? Battle Zoo, Arcane Mark. There's a million links down below in the description. Go click on all of those. But what haven't we hit yet? Anything
Well, I mean,
else?
other than the videos, just the big thing for Roll for Combat that's coming up, like sort of end of August or beginning of September, is definitely the Battle Zoo Bestiary Elemental Storm Kickstarter. And that has got just tons of monsters from 20 different elements, crafting with those elements. It's got new spells, a Monster Hunter archetype for sort of action style combat. And if you were watching this and it's before the Kickstarter has launched, there's a pre-page you can go to where you put down $1 towards the Kickstarter, which you can later just not do if you don't do the Kickstarter, and get like a free Kraken dice locket that's like a locket that has mini dice inside of it, which is very funny because Steven found that Kraken locket before we knew about Kraken Week, and then we were able to talk about it on Kraken Week. It's like, yeah, we just happen to have a Kraken anyway.
Synchronicity. It's all meant to be. It was written in the stars.
Just like the dice rolls all turned out into what we wanted to for the story.
uh, good stuff. Thank you so much for hanging out, spending your time with me, using your creative mind to form that story through those dots. Appreciate it very much. Everybody, go check out Mark's stuff. Links below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.